concussion, and my Eberflus fired.
Rest in peace, Trevor Lawrence. Watch out, nigga. Wait up. Bro, the way this cap has been getting in the way, shit is so funny. You should see
Shit
all that
can't
banana.
stop us now though, because we are live with the shits. We're talking NFL Week 13 recap. We got a kind of a condensed episode because we don't have as many games to break down since Thanksgiving and Black Friday took care of business. But as
Damn.
always, we're gonna break them all down from top to bottom. Go down, like and subscribe, comment along the way. I'm Paul Pickle and I'm joined with.
You already know, man. It's your boy Kev, Water Voice of Boy, aka the Don PY. Always the realest on your screen. And I don't have my headphones, and that's crazy. I probably sound quite antibiotic. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I think you kind of made that shit up on the spot right there. No, but I mean,
That's what that new Kendrick could do to you.
this week though, Kev did get the dub, went 13-3. I went 11-5, and there was a slight change of plans come Sunday night football. I changed. We are both on the Bills, but then I did call for a game time decision, and I switched it up to the 49ers. Let's just say I got some bad advice that day.
Yeah, what made you do that? None of that. What actually made you do that?
It was because Jasmine, I don't know, my fiance. She gave me she said, I just looked at her, I was like, who's gonna win tonight? She's like, who's playing? I gave her the two teams. She has no knowledge of the game, and she goes 49ers. Quite simple, plain as day. And what a lot of people won't know behind the scenes is if we do a yearly Survivor League where you got to pick a team, and if that team wins, you move on, and if that team doesn't win, you lose. And she was a part of it, and like she picked like week 3 the Giants over some team, and I was sitting there like the Giants, like she doesn't know what the numbers are. Like I'm like Giants are 10.5 point underdogs. Like I wouldn't pick the Giants. Like I'm trying to give her as many hints as possible. Like I wouldn't pick that team. Right? They end up winning that game. Move on to the next week. She'll pick like the Titans over a team, and it's like, hey, there are 8 point, like, but she doesn't understand what that means, like 8 point dogs. I'm like, they're like Vegas is telling you they're not going to win the fucking game without telling you they're not going to win the game. But she stays true to her pick, and that team would win. Like at this point, I'm already out of the league because like I picked the goddamn Eagles, and yeah, and they lose to the Raiders type shit, and it's like, well, I can't tell you shit apparently because you have the eye for this shit. So whenever it was just like that quick of an answer, I was like, all right, I'm gonna ride this because I saw the snow coming down, people shoveling out the seats and shit, and then all of a sudden when she said that, everything in my head was like, oh, Christian McCaffrey could, like it could be one of his days. He has 20 carries for 150 yards, he'll win the game. That's all. Yeah, bad snow day, better running team wins.
You were right.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just had the running backs mixed up, but you were right.
But yeah, no, that's why I made the switch to the 49ers, which I probably should have stayed with the Bills, but it didn't matter. You got it. Like, no matter what, it would have been, you would have won by a game. So I had to go for broke at that point.
So like this is me, right? So first off, I'm green as fuck. I know exactly why you picked the 49ers. But when you called me, I was like half sleep, half woke, finishing trying to get ready for the next game type shit. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm picking the 49ers. I was like, oh, what a great pick. What a great pick. I, I might switch with you. That's like what I'm thinking in my head right now. What do I tell this nigga to not make him change his mind? Because there's no way the Bills is going to cover this. Let them boys come into the snow and go crazy. So I hang up and immediately go take a shower and I get lit for the game. And I'm watching James Cook do his thing. Josh Allen hit the trifecta. Like the what they say, he rushed for 2, caught 1, and threw 1.
Yep. The lateral from Amari Cooper was just so fun because like also another side note was I wasn't supposed to win in fantasy, but because of that Josh Allen fucking, because like at that point in the game, Josh Allen had like 6 points because it was a snow day. It was like 80 yards passing. Like there wasn't much running from him. James Cook and Ray Davis were doing all the running work. So like he had no points. I'm probably gonna lose this week. And then all of a sudden, he got like 11 points because of that play. He got the passing touchdown and the receiving touchdown and the receiving yards. And so it went from I wasn't winning to, oh fuck, I just won the game. I just won in fantasy. And this is a league where like I had to beat the guy because the guy in front of me is in the playoff spot. We're a game apart. So I beat him and now I'm in his playoff spot and he's out of the playoffs. So I needed that win.
I can't relate. I lost my last three in fantasy, and I went from number one in my division to the ninth seed out of the playoffs. Shit
Ah
is
damn.
tragic. Yeah, this shit is crazy. Shit
That's
is
like the
crazy. I was like,
Cardinals. That's like Cardinals, Niners, Seahawks type of situation.
yeah, I was like number two, but I think I've lost four out of my last three, and now me and the number eight are tied, and I'm one game behind the number 7 and 6. So fuck fantasy right now, and it was tragic because I usually don't trip on fantasy, but I started Justin Herbert because I was like, I like him against our defense more than I like Kirk against their defense.
Well,
Which was
you made a great choice. I will
but
say.
he only had fucking 5 points because our defense locked in and slid. And I was like, of course, the one time I don't pick our defense to eat. And then I'm watching the podcast because I'm dying laughing at the fact that I'm in this bitch drunk as hell. But I'm watching me literally say, yo, the moon ball is open this week. And the Bengals defense can't guard a motherfucking couldn't guard a phone. Like couldn't guard your fucking girlfriend from getting your password on your phone, kid. Like they not stopping shit. But I didn't even think that didn't even cross my mind. Hey, start Russell Wilson. Like you don't like Justin Herbert right here either. But that didn't even stop to think like, hey, start Russell Wilson. Like, nah, because I have the reason why I have three quarterbacks is because I like to see Russell Wilson on my bench. But nigga drop 40. I lose by 38.
Nah, yeah. Oh, no. I would say the Russ. I don't know if you actually watched the game, but I did, and as I was watching it, there was never a stop. The Bengals never made a stop. It was always in the red, always a field goal or touchdown. The punter didn't punt the ball until the fourth, like the very last possession in the fourth quarter or some shit. Like it was just absolutely ridiculous.
Stop shit. And that's the life for Joe Burrow right now. MVP performances, but this nigga loses.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, back to the OG game. I just want to point out CMC out for the season most likely, and the most part he was almost consensus number one pick across the board for most fantasies. And on top of it, the Madden curse. He was on the Madden cover, and people have kind of stopped talking about the Madden curse in recent years, but like I feel like this is very evident this year.
I appreciate you, Paul, for bringing that up because you went into my strongest point for this week. I was a year off with all of my shits from last year. I was a year off because remember I saw the Bills get sent home by the Chiefs and they didn't get a chance to go on the field. So I was like, oh yeah, Bills gonna be
Time
the
to run
number
the
one team in
table.
the AFC. Yeah, they're gonna be the number one team in the AFC. They locked it. I didn't know all they needed to do was get rid of Stephon Diggs and their aging defense. I didn't know that. But then I said Joe Burrow's gonna win MVP. I said Joe Shiesty, he's gonna win the MVP. He's gonna put up crazy numbers and eat phenomenally. That did not happen. He's not looking like the MVP this year, but he's eating like the dude I thought he fucking was a year ago. And then I said, yo, CMC is a great weapon, and the games he does play, he will be fucking a problem for the defenses, and they have to fucking key in on him, and he's only going to be open up the offense much more. But he will be hurt most of this season because of this work. Because we saw what the workload did to him in Carolina, and it doesn't make sense for you to come to motherfucking come to another team older and it not happen again. I'm just looking at all this shit like I was a year off on all of this.
They say time is everything.
Literally. And
Time is
now I can
key.
but but one thing about me is if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'm gonna go do what's right. So I'm gonna drive CMC number one. I'm not gonna pick Joe Shiesty to eat, and I'm gonna sleep on the Bills.
Yeah, and honestly, the Bills thing, I was with you on. The Bengals, I think, was like my number two team on the division, so I did not expect of this to be their year. And the CMC thing, bro, I had 49ers in the NFC. I had the 49ers and I think the Super Bowl was my pick. So like, yeah, I was right there almost on every single pick with you when it came to this year.
That shit was crazy. But we gotta talk this fucking slate, Paul.
Yeah,
And
from top to
shout out,
bottom.
shout out me for winning the week because I needed that. Because I was like, yo, bro, this nigga Paul is what the fuck am I supposed to do? This nigga's going 10-2. Like this nigga really supposed to be going only one loss because I talked him into not picking the Cowboys. So
Yeah.
like that shit was crazy. So I needed this week. This week helped me a lot because I lost a fantasy. My team blew it, and motherfucking, I have a final exam. I have a final project due Thursday.
Well, let's rattle off this slate. We got started off with the Falcons losing at home to the Chargers 17-13. You brought up the Herbert over Cousins thing. Even though he scored 5 points, I need to know what Kirk Cousins stat line, well, not stat line, but fantasy score was because
Three
motherfucker,
point seven.
how much?
3.7.
I was
He
gonna say
still
because
threw
he
for
still
200
made the
yards.
right pick because I was like Kirk threw four fucking interceptions and a few of them were some real bad Stevies like bro like you just floated one into some coverage and just took that bitch went all the way to the house. Um, Definitely his worst performance as a Falcon and at one point I think Penix was trending.
At one point, niggas, that's all we talking right now. Hey, Penix, hey, get him out of there. Get him out of there. Because we've been trying to we didn't want to say nothing. We've been trying to like keep it on the low. Because like we saw Kirk eat against the Bucks. So it was like, all right, division opponents, we got them. We know the systems. We're familiar with them boys. No problem. And as long as we keep winning
And
these
y'all
early
almost
games.
beat the Chiefs like it was something like one PI away.
We, we beat the Eagles.
Like it was like okay.
Like you feel me? Like, but the thing was our offense looked comfortable. And at first, the O line wasn't blocking like a motherfucker. So I wasn't tripping. I wasn't saying that. But this last game and the game before that against the fucking and I didn't say nothing last game against the Broncos. But this game was so hard to watch, Paul. Because like the interception you're talking about was his second interception that went to remember we lost 17-13 and he threw a pick six in the third quarter. So that means that we spotted them the 7 points to beat us.
Gave it to him.
Defense defense locked in. Defense was getting sacks. Not every play, but defense was locked in. I'm talking about pass rush was there, coverage was on point. We wasn't even like focused or worried about like a lot of times you kind of lean on motherfuckers to drop the ball. Like you like, oh, he gonna drop that thing and then third down, we gonna lock in, you feel me? Wasn't doing that. We were there
Not
all day,
Lad.
every day.
Lad McConkey was catching them bitches left and right.
I guess. But we were eating that sounds crazy. What's it called? We was really fucking them up, but Kurt, you're not the Kurt. Like he looked like a dude that tore his Achilles last year. Like he looked like the throws. They're slow. Like they're just literal Stevie.
No, them bitches were like softballs, like here, and like the corner does a. Oh, thank you. I'm taking that bitch to the house now.
And the one that wasn't the one that pissed me off the most. That's the one that made me but that one didn't make me lose sleep that night. But the one that pissed me off the most was the third one, where driving down, it's a 4 point game. It's third and something. And that play was on 4th and 5. Why are we not going? Why are we not kicking field goals on 4th and 5? It would have been a 58-yarder, but we're not kicking field goals because our kicker's kind of in the slump. Not as bad as other kickers, but in the slump. Former number 2 in percentage of all time in the slump. So we're not comfortable kicking. So we're taking 4th and 5s for no reason. And then, but the interception is third and goal. It's third and goal. He throws one in the inner. There's nobody open. He's about to take it. Or he could have hit the safety valve on some quick shit, got the little 3 yards. Maybe he makes a play, maybe he doesn't. Nobody's mad. This motherfucker throws a Stevie up, and the fucking corner caught it like bread basket. And he's looking like once he threw it up, he already knew what it was. And I want to say it was the Kyle Pitts. And once he threw it up, he already knew what time it was. And I was like, what the fuck did you think was gonna happen? Like, I thought you were throwing that bitch away.
No, that one was the worst of the four. And that one is the epitome of this like fuck it. Like I'm just gonna talk, but like that wasn't even a good fuck it. At least a good fuck it is like worst case scenario, this sails out of bounds. This was like I'm just like a volleyball. Like I'm gonna let it get some hang time in there. And
Hang time.
yeah, like that was an Anthony Richardson type of interception from like way earlier in the year, and I was like, that was the worst interception I think I've ever seen. And then Kirk Cousins basically repeated that here, and it only makes me think about like Sam Darnold had those games where he threw multiple interceptions for the Vikings, and the Viking fans were done with him. Like, fucking get that motherfucker out. And like, I felt like the Falcons fan with a way bigger price tag are like on that same boat right now because this was not like a 17 to 13 point game and your quarterback threw four interceptions. It's just eye popping. It's just like that stands out to you right there.
Yeah, and that's the reason why it's like, okay, this is why it's been hard. Like the game against the Saints, we missed 3 field goals, and why are we settling for field goals every fucking drive?
Hey,
Like,
I'll say that
it's
y'all's loss and the Bucks win did give me that funny ass meme of like the skeleton and the muscle. It
yeah,
was
and they're right there, and they fucking, and we not even gonna talk about how them niggas almost fucking blew it. That
we
nigga
will.
Trevor
We're making our
sold.
way.
I was gonna say that boy sold, but yeah, we looked horrible. We got this was the game for us to win, and we would have been like, oh yeah, this is a playoff team. Defense locked in, offense took advantage. Offense played an ugly game, but it was a game they won. Like it would have been smooth. It's one of this was one of those games that if we punted the ball, if we
Oh
just
yeah.
punted the ball, we would have won.
Oh yeah. No, that's why it kind of hurt because I was like, I should have chose the Chargers, but at the same time, the Falcons kind of did it to themselves, and I'm like, that's what makes me more upset. So they did it to themselves.
But there was a point in the second. There was a point in the second half. I think we had like 40 plays to their 15 in the second half.
Crazy stat line. Then
Crazy.
we had another game that just didn't go our way. The Colts beating the Patriots 25-24. Another one
Crazy.
where like they go for the two, and that power run on like the 2 yard line and shorter. This might be the most unstoppable play right now because like it's like hand off to Jonathan Taylor, or I'm gonna run it up myself. And Anthony Richardson's a big motherfucker, and especially all you need is 2 yards, and you just kind of gotta read that linebacker. Like it definitely it was a little unfair because when they ran it, I was like, damn, like Patriots are cooked. Like this is it. Like I was really hoping to get the win. Drake May still looks like a fucking stud, but this one was hurtful to lose because I was like, damn, this was one of the dogs I felt pretty confident on.
Nah, we were right until that fucking 2 point conversion. This Colts team did not look good at all. Drake May was fit, and that was my biggest thing because even though they were scoring, like Drake May and them were always able to capitalize until that last drive, until they got the 2 point conversion, and
And that
even
drive
then
was
they
like
were
their
still
best. That was their best drive all game too. Like that
all game, and I'm
80
just like,
yards, 6 minutes off the clock. Like they did the best drive they could possibly do.
and and that's what the reason why they went for that 2 point conversion was because Shane Steichen was like, yeah, I'm not trusting this team in another quarter. Nah, let's go ahead and win this game right now. I don't give a fuck what they say.
And then the worst part was the Patriots. Drake May gets them boys down, and they tried out a 68-yard field goal, and that
Yes,
was like disc. I thought he made it. Like this, from bird's eye view for the camera angles. I was like, holy fuck! Did he just set hit? Like was that? Did he just hit that fucking? And then they go wave it off as incomplete, and then you get the replay of like that bitch was really just short by like a yard and a half. Like it fell right in front of the goalpost. I was like, damn, bro. Like this is football god's not on my side, but damn, bro, that would have been electric.
that would have been so fun. But fun fact, kicking and then that would have been longer than that would either tied Justin Tucker's have been longer than the one that he hit against the Lions 2 years ago. So now that would have been really bad, especially with him the way he's been missing. But I don't even watch the field goal anymore. I check to see if it got blocked, and then I just look down at the refs. because that's how bad field goal kicking has been this year. Like I kind of wait for it to hit the net, and the second it gets to the yellow, I'm looking down at the refs. That's how bad kicking has been this year. Like I have to look down. I gotta look down and make sure every time.
Now one hurt me too because it didn't hurt me more until about 7 o'clock because I had a 3-team parlay of the Steelers, Eagles, and Patriots, three underdogs all parlayed together, and two of the three covered. The Patriots like at 1 o'clock when they lost, I was like, damn, well maybe the Eagles lose two. Bet went in one AOA. Then the Eagles did handle business, and I was like, damn, Patriots, I really sold me on my little 3-team dog parlay because that shit was looking. It was like plus 1,000 because they be when you get three underdogs, that should be like multiplying.
Man, they snapped. That look a good part. I'm if you could take me back, I'm picking the Patriots again.
Yeah, I feel because like I'm feeling like Drake May maybe gets 2 yards more on that play, and then also
I,
kick is good.
I wouldn't. You know how much I would have smoked during that watching that game, picking the Colts. I would have been straight. And Kirk was fucking up at the same time. Mm-mm.
Then we're both on this team. Steelers beating the Bengals 44-38. Honestly, it's almost like free money. Like I feel like Vegas don't know what to do with the Bengals. They think they're gonna win these games, but it's just like their defense is gonna make anyone look good. So even if the offense they're going up against is not known for scoring points, you best believe they're gonna put up at least 30. And then you factor in that you're going up against a premier defensive unit that's known for making big plays and big moments. Yeah, I felt like this was almost like a gimme from Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, the best quote that needs to get put on a t-shirt. We have a lot of quotes that need to get put on a t-shirt. But I think my main quote would be if TJ Watt is playing in the football game, I'm picking the Steelers. Because it's money. Because that's what made the difference. Because that game was a shootout until the TJ Watt got that strip sack. And then I was like, oh yeah, this defense is just gonna do exactly what they need to do to force them boys to fuck up. And they held it down. It was definitely a close ass game, and I don't know how Jamar Chase can get so open. Like, but I got it. Somebody needs to study his route running and teach that in college. Teach that at 7-on-7. Because I'm talking about whenever you see him get the ball, there's nobody around him for like 4 or 5 yards. Like you don't. How often do you see Jamar Chase mossing it?
Not often. Dude, an open shot.
Yeah, it's like his route running mixed with his speed, the footwork. It's just insane. I might just start just watching him. I'm not even trying to glaze, kid. It's just real shit. That nigga is nice. But you gotta double him. You gotta double him.
I will
But
say it was a little shaky at first because Russ throws that pick six to start the game, and I was like, "Fuck!" But I didn't take into account Russ maybe fucking up. Like I didn't, so that I was like, okay, like maybe they have bad pick on our end. But then whenever it's like halftime, because I wasn't staying completely tuned into this game until the second half. I was watching other games at the same time, and then I wasn't. If I come back, I see at halftime it's 27-21, and the Steelers are up. I was like, okay, like that's all I needed from the Steelers. You're showing me you can score. Like my only fear was okay, maybe the Steelers offense can't score 30 points. Even though this is the Bengals defense. Maybe the offense is like that stagnant. It's like, nah, Russ had a career like Russ threw like 400 fucking yards, four
second
touchdowns.
most
Yeah, like yeah.
first time since 2017.
Yeah, like this was definitely a game where like you might not be able to take it, but like, yeah, Russ can do this all the time because definitely won't. This is the Bengals defense, but this shows how bad of a unit that is on the defense.
Best passer rating since 2020. Like one thing about me, I realized that I'm not a hater because like I'm watching these plays on the red zone, and I'm like, oh, that moon ball is open. Like that moon ball is open. And he's taking it every
And
time.
like the receivers aren't even like the reason why his move ball is so effective is because like what's different between his and others is I feel like his hits receivers in stride.
Yeah,
It's not like they haven't outreached their hand to like make it a crazy grab and they're diving
or
for it,
stop.
or yeah, having to slow down, turn on the ball. It's like it's in the breadbasket where like it's you can keep running and get the additional 10 yards afterwards or whatever the touchdown, but it's just it's on the receiver more than it is on the quarterback. It's like if they drop that, it's not because of the quarterback's throw.
Yeah, he's look. I would respect it because he looks off the safety so nice, and it's literally like, oh, safety's not there. Like, oh,
That's all that Pickens has been begging for. It was like, just trust me, I'm him.
Speaking of Pickens, that boy listening to young boy, and then he did a little gun thingy. I was shocked that they gave Jit a penalty for it, but then Shannon Sharp, he's like, oh chill. The nigga be talking because Elton be like, I think it wasn't that big a deal. And he's like, oh chill. The game said they don't do that. They're not playing that. And then he started bringing up some shit from like the Bronco days. There's some shit that got banned in like 80 or something, like 1980 or like 1990 or shit. He's like, you ain't seen nobody. I'm like, bro, I don't think niggas would think that's cool if they seen somebody do that shit.
Okay, LSU. I remember it was USC versus LSU week 2 or week 1 of college football. I think it was week 1. LSU scored a touchdown, and that motherfucker, the DB's next to him, he pulled out the chopper to the DB's head and was fucking shoots old boy's head off and like continue shooting him on the sideline. And that bitch flags. And like that set the tone, I felt like, for football. It was like, yeah, guns not allowed in celebrations. Like old boy went way over the limit with it. So now no guns at all. I don't give a fuck if it's a water gun. Like that bitch is not being used because we see how far it can be taken. Yeah, but I'm telling you, it was one of the crazy. He was like fucking. I was like, oh yeah, this next class, there's like the next class of football players in the NFL ski masked up. Like there's a whole bunch of picks coming in. Especially after rivalry week, what we saw, what these people, yeah, is a whole bunch of ski masks coming in.
He said, "Say hello to my little friend." Hey, but while we on the topic, off topic, right? Rivalry was insane, boy. I don't even watch college football like that, right?
It was I believe they said 7 or 8 fights. It was North Carolina State, Arkansas versus whoever the fuck Arkansas played. Then Auburn, Alabama, Florida, FSU, Arizona State, Ohio State, and Michigan. There's a couple more I'm missing, but it was all over.
I'm blaming Kendrick, bro. That Squabble Up came out, and now nobody knows how to act.
I will say that the college football versus NFL, the college football people definitely had a lot of ammo because they were like, yeah, I'd much rather have this than 2 people shake hands and be on the podcast afterwards. And I was like, damn,
that's funny as fuck.
I was like, damn, CJ Stroud Parsons. Like that was
Nah, them boys then that wasn't crazy straight. But I would have them boys ain't see the Jags game. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, the Jags did have that dog in them this week.
They jumped the fuck out of that boy. But yeah, college football lit. That bit had me tuned in. I'll be watching Rivalry Week again next year.
And it was
I bet you, do you think they're gonna ban the flag planting?
No.
Whoa, they're not even gonna trip?
No, they're probably gonna trip, but it's equivalent of whenever they banned the fucking storming on the field. Like, oh, if y'all gonna storm the field, we're gonna fine the school hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the schools are like, motherfucker, we just beat Alabama. Like we fucking storming the field, we'll pay them fines. Well, and we're lifting the field goal post and taking.
Yeah, I'm about to say, and niggas is taking the field goal post.
You don't think that shit's bad? Like that, they don't give a fuck. Like that's why sometimes that shit's a little bit funny to NFL's because like NFL's business, this and that. It's like these are, or we're not gonna be here 3 years from now, bro. The next class got to deal with that.
Paul, did you say a little? Bro, ever since I've been in Tennessee, my entire take on college football is different. Because Florida's cool. Florida has some good shows. They have the G1, the Fighter Pirates, and all that good shit.
In Florida, though, where like Florida State as a whole has a whole bunch of Florida. They have like 6 professional teams.
Yeah, but in Tennessee, when I was Knoxville, Tennessee, the University of Tennessee, and them niggas was ranked number 7 at the time. So I'm like, oh, this shit is different. 100,000 strong in that bitch. Everybody got a Tennessee.
Pat McAfee says it best when it comes to like college football things. It's like, yeah, you can be a fan of sports teams. Like, look at my dad, Cowboys fan. I'm a Dolphins fan. Like, but like when it comes to college football, it's like, My father's father was a Bama fan. My father's father's father was a Bama fan, and my father's father actually laid the bricks down on the stadium. So like they be ingrained into the.
Facts. Yeah, so yeah, and the fucking show, like the TV is cool, but being at the game is different. Like the spectacle, like the halftime shows, the cheerleaders, the band. Yeah, that shit's
Oh,
different.
and you also got to think about a lot of football people, these are people, even college, you have grown-ups there and everything. But like grown-ups put on their alma mater gear, and get around other motherfuckers with the alma mater gear, and they're back into the 18-year-old version of them. Like they're
Right.
chugging beers, they're smashing shit on their head. Like they're Bills Mafia fans on every fan base. And
Oh,
and then
tailgates
you
is
mix that
different.
in with the actual 18 to 21, 22-year old, like the younger crowd, and it's just like, oh yeah, mayhem. Yeah, yeah,
No,
this
and
is gonna
don't
be
forget,
this is gonna be crazy. Oh, and these stadiums are like 100 years ago built. Like, oh yeah, it is 100,000 of these fuckers. Oh yeah, mayhem.
and don't and don't forget the Jits. The Jits are deep. Like any age from 3 to motherfucking 14, like the Jits are deep because they're like, and they're teaching their kids that fuck, fuck Kentucky.
Yeah,
We bleed orange Tennessee. Like this shit is
100. Yeah,
different.
no, it's a nice little off-topic thing. We do gotta rattle off these next games though. These next ones will be kind of quick. Jets losing again to the Seahawks. We're both on this. I just feel like it's a week in and week out where it's kind of like the Jets can put together a couple drives to look decent, but as a whole unit, they're just not there.
Seahawks coach, don't know his name.
Mike McDonald.
He needs to be a coach of the year talk. I wasn't aware of his game. I'd never seen a coach because I thought the word was wacky. I thought this was the wackiest game I've seen probably in a while. And this is after we saw the fucking Chiefs beat the Raiders on Friday. This is probably the wackiest game I've seen in a while, right? But this team literally spotted them boys 21 points all off a of special team. They they fumbled three fucking kicks. Three, they must, I think, can't remember if it was three punts and kickoffs or three kickoffs. But I watched the last one live. There was a point in this game that the Seahawks, no, the Seahawks give off a kickoff, right? The Seahawks, they already spotted the Packers 14. Then they give up a kickoff on the kick return. They kick it, they get it back and fumble the kick.
Fumble, yeah.
Then Leonard Williams gets the fucking 90, gets like a 93-yard, one of the slowest pick sixes I've seen I've seen in a while. Runs that bitch all the way down, gets the pick six on Aaron Rodgers, and then they get the fucking field goal block.
Leonard Williams blocked that too. Yeah, he had the pick. He had 2 sacks, a pick six, and a blocked field goal. They were saying like,
Defensive
give that
player of the week.
motherfucker, yeah, defensive player of the week with that stat line.
That's insane. Like I was like, this is so. I thought it was a nigga said this was a drunk ass game, and I was like, that's exactly what happened. It was whoever sobered up the quickest, and that's who won this game. Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers, they looked good early, and then there were just points in times where their defense was doing something I said on the fucking preview they would never do: get stops. I want to say, Paul, they stopped these ninjas like the Jets defense stopped the Seahawks like 6 times at the goal line, like right there. Because they got a flag on third down, so then they had to run it all back, stopped all of it, and the Seahawks went for it on fourth down.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like Kenneth Walker was a complete non-factor this game, but it wasn't also his fault. Like the fumble recover, the fumble on the kickoff, the giving up the touchdown. It was like the Seahawks were playing catch up. Well, it felt like Seahawks were playing catch up, and then you would see the score, and it's like this is still a one possession game. Like,
Literally.
and then that was what kind of gave me a hope that like the Seahawks are going to pull this out because the Jets are winning on some like crazy shit. Like they're like unless they can keep up this crazy shit for 4 quarters, and they almost did. They almost did. But like Leonard Williams was like, I gotta put a stop to this shit myself, and he did. Like, but like the Jets are almost like they can only do one or two good things at a time. Like they can't put shit together for all four parts, four phases of the game, be cohesive units. Like special teams gets an A plus plus. Offense gets probably like a, a C plus at best, like a C. Like they only really did good because they got short field positions. And then like defense gets like a C plus also for the red zone stops. So you're sitting there like, well, we got passing grades all together, but y'all still failed the project. Like I don't know how, like I don't know what else to, like I don't like there's it's just the hardest team to break down because it's like they're not doing the worst, but yet they keep losing. So their record's gonna showcase that they're one of the worst teams in the football.
Who, the Jets? I
Yeah.
think they are one of the worst teams in football because it comes down to winning, kid.
But like if you're just taking Jets and Jaguars, record wise, they're the same team, but it's like I'd much rather have the Jets. But it's just like I
But
don't
like,
know why they keep losing, right? Because it's not like, okay, well, what are we gonna fix? And that's why I think the Jets are the hardest team to put the finger on because it's like, what are we gonna fix? I don't know. Like I really
but
don't.
this team is. I think I don't want the Jets. I'm not taking the Jags either. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think the Jags are the Jags 3-9.
The Jags are 2-10, so
All
they're
right,
in
yeah, yeah.
that same.
They
They're in that
they don't
same
even have
battleground.
they don't even have a shame record. But look, let's compare the Jets and the Panthers. They're both 3-9. The Panthers just played two back-to-back close games, and they literally have me scared, thinking like, "Fuck, we gotta play these niggas," and they don't figure their fucking lives out while we're over here reeling and fucking reeling and staring and dog shit right now. So that's why I look at the Jets like, nah, yeah, this team is terrible. I'm not taking the Cowboys over the boys, but like there are
But the
still teams
Cowboys
I
got
would
more
take
wins.
over.
The Cowboys got 5 wins on it. But like even like the Titans got 3 wins, and I feel like I'd rather have the Jets than the Titans. Like maybe you can argue the Titans just need a good quarterback, but that's all you could argue with the Jets in the previous years. And then next thing you know, they get a good quarterback,
Yeah,
and that shit that's just all of a sudden just blows up in their face. But we can't spend up too much time on them because, like we said, they're a 3-9 team.
yeah.
We got to keep it moving. The Texans beat the Jags 23-20. One of my locks. Definitely was a lot closer than what it should have been. We had the brawl out in the Trevor Lawerence hit. Hopefully he gets healthy soon. He's probably gonna be out for the rest of the year because the Jags got nothing to play for. Um, Doug Peterson, for whatever reason, still around. Someone did make a good point that like, hey, Trevor Lawrence got hurt. The team itself did not give up. Like they played that game all the way through. Like they tried their best to beat the Texans. They almost beat the Texans, and they're like, maybe that shows you they're like they still like Doug P. I don't know. Someone's like they're still playing hard. Whatever the case, they definitely lost this game. It was a little sweaty as a Texans fan. I would be more worried if I'm a Texans fan because it was like we barely beat the Jaguars. That's a bottom of the barrel team, and Trevor Lawrence was not playing for half the game.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm not sleeping tonight well if I'm a Jets. If I'm a Texans fan right now, yeah, we got a W, boy, and there's no and that's all everybody's gonna remember when they check the record. But this Jaguars defense is not good, and this Texans offense did not get off.
Yeah, and they scored that one touchdown in the fourth quarter, but then the Jags rattled off back to back scores, making a ball game, and it's just like the Texans just kept punting. Like the sophomore slump is real for CJ Stroud because there people start pulling up footage of like him just missing some throws that was like year one he was making those throws. It was like a deep shot to Nico Collins when he beat the safeties would have been like an 80-yard touchdown, which was just underthrown incompletion, and it was just like hopefully he gets better, but you made me think when you said, Paul, this is why I don't crown people so early. Like you got, and I was like, that's true. Like one season doesn't prove you're really like gonna. It's gonna take a few. Like you have the ability to do it. I'm not knocking that, but you have to show you could do it year in and year out because defenses get better. Defenses learn tendencies. Defenses get film. Like you have to
Uh,
keep getting better. Because like even Tua, I feel like this year has not felt like Tua last year. This was throwing fucking insanely fucking. This year, not the same.
Mm-hmm. That's fact. But this game is definitely showing the Texans got a lock, and if not, they might get beat by 30 in the playoffs.
Yeah, I
But
feel like there's some teams in the wild card licking their lips, like when they were like some teams might not try to lose on purpose, but like if they rather like, would you rather play the Steelers or would you rather play the Texans in wild card weekend? And like motherfuckers are definitely gonna probably be lining up for the Texans.
I'm telling you, right, those are gonna be the people that bench all their players. Like, oh, we already got our playoff berth for chilling.
Yeah, the
But
integrity of the game.
before we get off of this, I really got to talk to this brawl for a quick second because that shit was so crazy. Because the brawl was at the same time as the Seahawks game, as the Seahawks doing all that crazy shit. So me and Kyle are over here in the group chat, entertained like a motherfucker. And the hit was a hit. Was it a terrible hit? Nah, but it was. Was it an unnecessary hit? Yeah.
The only thing is aesthetically, it doesn't look good with the forearm push.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because like the hit's one thing, and you can argue Trevor did. You're on the first down line. Like it comes back to linebackers. You don't want to let up a first down, so you're gonna let him get the first down, or you're gonna commit to the tackle. And you commit to the tackle, Trevor kind of slides a little bit late, but then whenever he does hit, and then like pushes his head off like that, that was the one thing I was like, oof, that was that's where they're gonna get you, big dog.
That's why you got to jump. Dude, they jumped the fuck out of that boy. I'm like, oh, he's on the floor.
Yeah, Evan Ingram was the first one to get up in there.
And when the craziest thing about this shit was this entire brawl was going down and Trevor Lawerence is just on the floor. Just not moving. Unresponsive.
Yeah.
And they're going crazy. I don't know if sidelines fucking bench, but there were a lot of motherfuckers on the field. I was like,
oh no, both sidelines were cleared got cleared, but they made it sound like it was baseball. Like sidelines got cleared to fight each other. The Texans sidelines started realizing that like shit's not getting broken up, so like they start getting in there to pull their guys out. Like, hey, like fucking let's get back to a ball game. Fans throwing shit. They had to get the police escort out of the fucking to the tunnel and shit.
Because Jit wanted to keep fighting. I was like, no way.
He did issue an apology. He did apologize to Trevor Lawerence, like one-on-one, and then he does it. And looking back, he can it was a good apology because it was like I apologize to Trevor personally because I don't ever want to see somebody get hurt. That's not my intention. But I'm not mad at the Jaguars. After seeing the hit, I would have done the same thing if that was my guy. So no bad blood there. He did say like the Jaguars fans though, y'all some racist motherfuckers. That was the one thing. He was like, y'all just need to tone it down. Outside of that, it was like one of those good apologies. He did get suspended 3 games though.
They had to show something. And somebody tweeted his address. I don't know if it's his real place, but
probably real. Knowing the internet, yeah, they probably got his ass.
Imagine niggas running down your crib. Man, fuck you.
Fucking Ohio State, because they lost to Michigan, Ohio State fans leaked the Ryan Day, the head coach's address on all over the internet.
That's crazy.
That's all. Yeah, like you don't ever lose to Michigan, buddy. But keep it pushing. The Vikings beat the Cardinals 23-22. Sam Darnold leads the game-winning drive with a minute left. Aaron Jones scores that touchdown pass. It was a good game. I'm happy we took the Vikings because I was getting a little worried because it wasn't a lot of offense. I felt like on either side, but then also I feel like Kyler Murray gets that touchdown to Marvin Harrison. They're up by 2 scores, and I was like, fuck, like I don't think the Vikings are gonna be able to like come back and do all this. And lo and behold, they get the job done. They are, I think, 7-1 in 1-score games this year are the Vikings.
Nice. Yeah, I was so shook watching this game because I was like, why the fuck does the Cardinals want to play defense today? And watching the first quarter, like, why the fuck is the fucking Cardinals offense playing well? Like, why is James Conner making these fucking 10-yard runs? This is some bullshit. But the Vikings is just a team you don't give up on because they keep fighting and they figured it out because they looked great on that last drive. Like Sam Darnold, I was like, you know, I keep coming on here and I keep saying, "Oh, you're gonna beat us with Sam Darnold." Bet. And then there's weeks where Kevin O'Connell will be like, "Bet,
Yeah,
nigga."
yeah, I will. I think I will.
He said, "You know what? You know what? I'm fucking taking that bet."
I always think back to there. Remember when it was Trey Lance, him, and Brock Purdy were the quarterbacks of the 49ers. And then Sam Darnold was supposed to be the starter of the season before he gets hurt. Then Brock Purdy goes on and has his story. There was a reporter that said that during the preseason training camps, I was like, Sam Darnold may be the best pure passer of the ball for the 49ers since Steve Young I've ever seen with my own two eyes. And people are on his head like, the one that sees ghosts? Like, no, like on his head, right? So we never get to see Sam Darnold experience because he gets hurt. Then he goes over here, and yeah, he had those couple of games with a couple of bad interceptions. But it was like the first 4 weeks when they were winning games, and Sam Darnold was just tearing shit up. They were just like, maybe we owe that reporter an apology. And
You might.
that was what that all I keep thinking about every time Sam Darnold has a good game was like, damn, maybe we owe that reporter an apology because people are on his head, and here he is on like a fucking backup minimum deal, and he's fucking they're 10-2, like
Shit is crazy.
they're one of the most they're a solid team. Like come playoff time, they're gonna hold their own.
But you know what I think a lot? You know how we always make the jokes about like in some reality this might happen. I'm starting to think our reality is the one where niggas be like, yo, what the fuck? Jake Paul is fighting Mike Tyson?
A fact.
Like I think our reality is the crazy one because they're like a Sam Darnold is a what?
But JJ McCarthy was probably going to be the starter, I think, for the year. Like if he doesn't get hurt, because his training camps, he was looking so good, and like I think this all comes back to Kevin O'Connell. He wasn't my pick, but I remember on the preseason picks for Coach of the Year, I took Jonathan Gannon for the Cardinals, but I said the only other person that I kind of feel like a good vibe is I'm like, you look at like Kevin O'Connell, I'm like, if they end up being if all it takes is Sam Darnold to look decent and they win some games, and then all of a sudden, bam, he's in Coach of the Year status. Because all it takes is one thing to happen. Sam Darnold better than what we expect it to be. And then like that's kind of where the status is now. I have no idea the Coach of the Year rankings, but I would imagine that Kevin O'Connell's at least in the mention.
Well, they need to have best coordinators, and I think they should have a best coordinator, offensive, defensive coordinator. Because Brian Flores would be in the mention too. But Sam Darnold is proof of what every team kind of just like wishes out of not. Let me say that there's a lot
Sam,
of bad teams.
Dino, and Baker.
Yeah. Those three are what a lot of bad teams just wish they could get out of their quarterback. That's all we need. Like just like somebody that's gonna come in and be a gamer. You're gonna have bad games. For some reason, some reason, Gino Baker has bad games, but they're always close. I don't know why. Like he threw red zone interceptions against us and still had a chance to come down and beat us. But like those are like the gamers. Those are the dudes that you get them on this crazy small deal and they're coming in and they're transitioning you to whatever your next thing is going to be. And that's what Kirk was supposed to be for us if we didn't pay him that bag like that.
Yeah.
So like,
and then it's like worst case, we have a short status, like a quarterback we have no future with. Like we knew he wasn't the future. Best case, it's what Gino, Sam, and Baker are doing right now. And it's like, oh, this motherfucker could be the starter for the next 3 years. Like we have no like this like until we find the right guy, this is not a bad option. Unless we gotta pay him $50 million
a year. And then you just let him slide. Go ahead. All right, man. We good.
Yeah, and so yeah, because I keep saying there's that funny. It's like Lions having the best year of their fucking ever, and then right next to the Vikings on a rebuild year, there's one game away, just smiling. And I was like, damn, that's so true. Like no one like Sam Darnold. Yeah, who would have thought? Next game down the slate, Commanders blow out the Titans. This was an easy pick, 42-19. Commies coming off the bad loss, the Cowboys where they shouldn't have lost, and the Titans beating the Texans and what was a big upset as well. It was just the perfect mesh of like, yeah, these both of these teams are going to come back to reality, and the Commanders are going to be the better team, and the Titans are going to go back to being mid. And at one point, it was like 21 or 28-0. Like right before halftime, it was already like past the sticks, homie. The game is over.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Paul. We saw the same game, but I had a completely different take out of that because that's exactly what happened. But there was a point in time where Jaden Daniels and this offense wasn't doing anything because they started off 28-0, but they came out of halftime very flat. And then, of course, you can say you let up because of all this. But I was literally, there was a point in time where I was like, all right, you guys need to start scoring because these motherfuckers are about to score because they're down like 18 or like, I'm like, these motherfuckers are about to score 2 touchdowns.
If y'all don't do
Y'all,
nothing,
yeah, if y'all don't do nothing, these motherfuckers are 3 and outs, 3 and outs. Oh, y'all, they finna come down and score 2 touchdowns and make this a ball game. And that's what scares me about their commies. Like, I'm not picking them in the playoffs for nothing. Because especially if the Eagles don't get the first round bye, oh my gosh, I am not picking them for nothing. Because there's times where you can stop this offense. And this game they got turned off and they turned it back on type shit. But there's times where this offense can just come out there and be completely dry and be bones. Like Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels are like this and this to me for rookie of the year. Because like Jaden Daniels started off playing well, and I think he's a better athlete, and I think he's probably the better football player. But this offense is can just be stopped. It could just be stopped, like and just not function for drives at the time.
he really gives me the like. I hate making comparisons early, but he gives me the Kyler Murray feeling of like when it's cooking, it's cooking. But when things aren't working, like when you aren't able to like make the 10-yard run and you are the best athlete on the field or hit your wide receiver, because like Kyler had D Hop early in his career. And we're like, oh fuck, like this shit.
Yeah,
And we got Scary Terry with Jaden Daniels, and like I did, and like both of them had Zach Ertz. Like fucking, they both like Jaden got Zach Ertz now. Zach Ertz is with Kyler before. Like
that's funny. And they got Cliff. They both have Cliff
yeah,
Kingsbury.
and it's just like in early season before Jaden, there was a game where Jaden got the ribbon injury, and afterwards, since then, he just hasn't looked like the same runner. And he is also like 5'11". He's also like Kyler's build. He's not. I didn't know he was like a smaller guy until a few weeks ago. I thought he was like 6'2" or something. I didn't know he was like 5'11". I was like, oh fuck,
Yeah,
like,
he
okay.
doesn't look like a big guy, but I definitely would have thought we're the same height and shit.
Yeah, like whenever Tua was in the draft, that was the only thing you heard about was that motherfucker's height. But like with him, I didn't hear anything about like oh, he's a little shorter. So like I was just a little shocked. So then like it made sense. Oh, he got a rib injury. Now he's not running as much. What did I say about Kyler? Was like he's as good as he can be when he can run. The moment that he gets hit a few times, there's some injuries, this or that, he kind of gets bottled up. The defenses can now play soft coverages, and he's not the best at reading coverages. He's not, like when some guys are the best athlete at times, they kind of let their other skills dull. And it's like you're not reading coverages, you're not changing the line, you're not doing the other things and like mentally that quarterbacks can do. Why? Because physically you are a superior athlete. Jaden can get better with that. But like he kind of gives me the Kyler Murray feel. It's like when things are going great, this looks like a video game offense. But whenever things are not going great, it's 3 and outs. They're quick 3 and outs, and it's like, oh,
Uh,
you're missing shit.
uh,
Then we
I think
we
it's
had
just
the
I think it's a big lack of adjustments. I think it's a whole personnel thing. Like it's a player, coach, and like it's just like when the defense adjusts. I think it takes them a while to adjust to the defense.
they can keep a push. They're still young too. That's not. There's another team that's overachieving because like even if they get a playoff spot in year one, it definitely changes what they need to do in year two with the what people are expecting from them. But year one, no one was expecting this. So this is all pros and pros right now. Next game was probably it was the closest game of the week. It was the overtime game. Bucks beating the Panthers 26-23. Panthers get the ball in overtime. They get stopped. Oh no, my Bucks get the ball in overtime. They get stopped. They miss the field goal. Ball gets back to the Panthers. Big third down. Bryce hits Adam Thielen on a one-hand snaggeroo. Sets up field goal. They're well within field goal position. They, just run Chuba out there for maybe he's just lining up the ball a little bit better, getting a couple better yards. Who knows? But like they run out Chuba for a nice little run. And what a play by the Buccaneers to they tackle his ass in midair, punch the ball out, recover it, come down. Mike Evans makes a big catch. They come down. Chase McLaughlin gets a second try at it, hits the field goal, game over. But boy, was this a roller coaster.
Insane. Bryson was handling business. I think it was cool watching Mike Evans like just kind of go back and forth with their DBs. Those were some really good matchups. You called that on the podcast. But yeah, man, Bryson locked in because when they got when you're talking about the snaggeroo and the overtime, fourth quarter, that drive was nice. They took that bitch down. And
I thought they did it with that drive. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, shout out Baker for getting the field goal range and everything like that. But they locked in. They locked in. They figured it out, and they really thought. I really thought we was going to be wrong on that one. I would have been okay with it.
Oh yeah, and like I know as a Falcons fan, you were probably sitting there like, bro, please Panthers pull this bitch off.
Now this is when I started dozing off because I woke up and I see Marcus say Trevor sold, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, and it sold so bad because it was just like you kick that field goal, y'all win right there. Y'all try to get the extra run, and he got like 8 yards on the run. Like it was gonna be another nice little pickup, and then he fumbles that bitch on the hit. He was airborne already, so I can't even blame him. Like you're airborne, your feet are off the ground. Someone else comes in on a secondary hit and knocks that bitch out. Just the worst timing possible. And the fucking was it? I think Fox was the one showing this game. Their camera crew is an asshole because after that fumble, every play afterwards, they would just pan the camera right back to Chuba Hubbard. Like, yeah, look how sad he is on the sideline about to cry because his team. Oh, Mike Evans gets him into field goal range. Let's go back to Chuba Hubbard's reaction. Like I was like, bro, they just keep showing Chuba Hubbard and like head down, sad. People every now and then someone coming over, but it's okay, dog, bro. It happens to everybody. His got to cry, or Chuba, it happens. Or Chuba, you're our number one back, bro. You're our number one back. Jonathan Brooks, the backup run back behind him, like, yeah, it's my time to shine now, Mo. You fucked up. Like he had the big call. I was like, bro, this shit's terrible. But the Buccaneers got the job done, and Adam Thielen, Bryce Young, since the benching and getting the restart, and Rod Wave reaching out, definitely when Marcus first week iced Bryce, I was like, bro, where do you keep coming up with this shit? Like I had never heard anyone ever call him Ice Bryce in my life, even in his Bama days. He's like, I'm the king of nicknames. I was like, oh, okay, I apologize. And then since then, every touchdown, Ice Bryce, and I'm like, bro, that shit, he's looking kind of good. He's looking like a quarterback that I can, yeah, we'll roll over to next year with.
Yeah, I mean, he's looking like I don't need to get a quarterback in the draft.
Yeah, we can build.
Let me get something to compliment him, and then I'm going the Bucks route. I think a lot of people need to lock in on that Bucks route. When they picked up Jameis, and they say, yeah, he throws a lot of interceptions. Yeah, we keep having losing seasons, but we keep getting great. We keep hitting in this draft.
We keep getting nice skill position players. We get a premier offensive lineman. And they had a couple premier offensive linemen before Jensen retired.
And we're getting a crazy nice defense, and we're catching niggas late. We're catching the Chris Godwin late. We're catching the motherfucking. I don't know who else was late on that team, but
Florida always has the benefit of no income tax, so like you can always get a nice free agent guy. Like if you have all the other parts cooking, that's why Tom Brady wanted to come to either Miami or fucking Tampa. It was like no income tax. Yeah, I'm tired of giving away 30% of my check because I live up in New York. They were saying like when Tyreek was going between the Jets and Miami, The Jets could have gave him the same contract as us, 100 million, but after taxes, he really would only got like 65 million versus the full 100 here. Like it's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna go to Florida.
Yeah, then it's happened. Like Darrell Reeves came here, Vincent Jackson came here, like he came over there. It was like, oh yeah, like
You
I'm
can
coming
build
here
a
to make
nice
more
little
money.
piece and then start doing. And Baker's doing it. I'm Panthers are probably like, thank God we didn't trade Bryce, because if he would have been pulling one of these Geno Smiths types of shit, we'd be even worse of a franchise. Like y'all let
Yeah,
him walk.
yeah, like because you seen what happened with everybody else, Sam Darnold, Baker, Gino. Like,
Yeah, they would have been. So they got themselves a guy, at least for now. Every week something else can happen. Then we had
yeah,
the
I'm chilling with him.
Rams beating the Saints 21-14. A very dull game. Puka gets the intercept. No, Puka gets the touchdown in the fourth quarter. There's still like 8 minutes on the clock. The Saints offense is really like both offenses were dead. Derek Carr couldn't find anybody. Offensive line couldn't block for either side. I felt like it was just a dirty game. I can't be upset because I felt like the Saints defense did what I wanted them to do to pull out this game. It was just I feel like the Saints also went for it on fourth down a couple times that they really didn't need to. I don't know. It was just a very ugly game altogether.
Saints, for some reason they like to play good against us. But I mean, I wasn't paying attention to the game. I don't even think it really, and it was funny because this is a 4 o'clock game, but it really didn't pop up on my red zone like that. So, hey man, it is what it is. I'm trying to talk this next game.
Yeah, but then we had the Eagles beating the Ravens. I try to tell you, the Eagles best offensive line, best defensive line in football, best team on paper probably right now. Just don't let them Eagles fans hear it. They beat the Ravens in Baltimore, 24-19. This is a big game, not only because it was probably a battle of what potentially could be a Super Bowl matchup, but also because the Ravens fall to 8-5 in their division, and the Steelers are still sitting at 9-2. So the
Oh,
Ravens of not having to see a wild card is dwindling away.
oh no. They seen a wild card and they not playing at home at all in the playoffs.
Yeah.
If you want to go to the Super Bowl, boy, you better do that on the road. And you got to go to Buffalo. And you got to go to Kansas City.
So yeah, this was a big game, not just for who beat who here, but what the implications are probably a few weeks down the road.
You probably got to go to Pittsburgh. Like, you feel me? Like, these are places you got to go to win the Super
Go
Bowl.
to Kansas City. Go to Buffalo. You're gonna be on the road.
Yeah, so make sure you get some. Tell everybody on the Ravens, make sure they get them some nice luggage, and make sure they pack. Make sure they get some nice new coats because it's gonna be cold. But yeah, when they lost this game, I was just like, okay, well, Justin Tucker missed how many field goals?
He missed two and an extra point, if I'm not mistaken.
So he's slumping. I
And
mean,
he missed two to the left and then one to the right. Every miss has been to the left this season, except the last one was to the right. And Pat McAfee said that he doesn't know for sure because he's not in the building, but he's almost 100% positive the reason why that one was to the right was because someone told him like you cannot miss to the right. Like just aim as right as possible because everything's going left. So then we kicked the last one, that bitch went to the right, and he was so
that's
like,
tragic.
yeah. And then I was like, damn, that sucks.
I mean, yeah, I'm not even. I don't like to make fun of my broke kid, but yeah, he's not. He's in a slump right now. Keep kicking though. Keep kicking. I respect John Harbaugh's like, hey man, we're gonna send him out there, fuck it. But I think not settling for field goals is nice. That's always good. But this Eagles team is the best team in the league. Like that's what I said before the game. I said if the Eagles win, they're gonna prove that they're the best team in the league. And Jalen Carter, I don't know, man. They need to start giving that boy talks in that defensive player of the year conversation because he's back there every play. Every play he's back there.
It's one of them Aaron Donald situations, and the worst part was like it's since rookie year, like he getting doubled or triple teamed on every play. So he's not getting the sacks, but you just got to see like he's disrupting the whole offensive line.
He's a problem. I wouldn't say I wasn't aware of his game, but I just didn't like put him up on my radar like that. But shout out the Eagles. Shout out Saquon. That 25-yard run is kind of the definitive answer in the game. And that's what the difference was. They could still run the ball and their superstars could still be superstars at all times, even though they're playing against a premier defense.
And second half too. It was once again another second half run that broke for a what would be considered a big gain touchdown. But in my opinion, if someone breaks a 25-yard touchdown on you, that's a big touchdown. Like that would like
That's a huge touchdown.
yeah. So yeah, second half once again, Shaquan's showing that like you can bottle me up for a little bit, but I'm gonna. And it's not just him, because like Shaquan leads the league in like yards before contact. I don't have the exact numbers, so like this, don't quote me on the numbers, but just to put in perspective, it's basically like yards before contact. That means basically before anyone even touches you, and that's all thanks to your O line and scheme. He leads the league with like out of his 1,500 yards, it's like 800 or 900 yards before contact. The next leading rusher is like Derrick Henry with 400 and something. Like he doesn't doubles the second place guy because of how great their O line is and because of how good their scheme like is for setting up his runs.
I
That,
did see some crazy stuff like that.
he's basically averaging like almost 4.5 yards before contact. That means he's getting at least to almost a 5 yard marker before anyone can even tackle or touch him. So it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna get a first down if you just give him the ball every time.
That's a big scare motherfucker, and he's holding it down. Shout out Saquon. If
Then
only the Giants, if only the Giants knew.
we basically covered the Bills 49ers game there. It was a whole bunch of snow, a whole bunch of no Christian McCaffrey, and a whole bunch of James Cook and Ray Davis and the boys.
But you know that James Cook clocked in his fastest time and that they've ever the next gen stats came out. Because I was watching that like, yo, boy, that boy's taking off. He clocked in his fastest time in his entire career this week in the snow.
And I have to apologize, James Cook, him and Bo Nix, because those are two guys coming out of college. James Cook was like 2-3 years ago that I completely shitted on coming out of draft, and they have proven me wrong.
I think the James Cook thing was just figured you don't have no love for FSU.
No, James Cook is from Georgia. If I'm not.
Oh no. I'm thinking of Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, no, James Cook came from Georgia, but he was like the third string back. He was taking like one of the like he was the third stringer on his team when he got drafted, and he got drafted before the other two guys. And I was just like, bro, what the fuck are we doing here? But I see why. You draft on potential, not what they did in college.
Mm.
Then we had the Broncos beating the Browns, and what this was a classic to me, man. I could watch this game any day of the week. 41-32. My personal favorite moment of this whole game was Bo Nix's 71 or 72 yard. Oh no, I think it was further. It might have been like 90 yard fucking touchdown. What was it? Yeah, 93 yard touchdown to Marvin Mims over the middle in between the safeties, and he catches it, and the commentator didn't even wait for the touchdown. The moment he caught it, he goes, "That's a touchdown." Marvin Mims, 93 yard. Motherfucker's still running down the 30 yard line. It's like Marvin Mims, 93 yard touchdown. And then Jameis Winston, about 3 plays later, just hold my beer and then throws a 70 yard touchdown to Jerry Jeudy. And I was like, holy shit, we're in for a ball game, folks.
Yeah, that game was just I would you asked me before the game, I would have told you bet the under. Bet the under, bet the under. Low scoring game, whole lot of defense, whole lot of no gang shit is going on this game. But I lied, kid. Jameis Winston. I was watching the game in the first half and I was thinking like, yo, if he didn't throw that pick six, he low key would be balling right now. He has
Yeah, it was like he had like
250
250 yards at halftime. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
it was
And two
insane.
touchdowns. And and I'm not saying the running game isn't eating, but he's throwing like a motherfucker. Jit had like 31 passes in the first half.
The running game was not eating because they benched Nick Chubb, but Nick Chubb's like his last carry was at like 12 minutes left in the second quarter, and he didn't touch the ball again until like after halftime, third quarter.
I did peep that because he scored. Didn't he get something thrown to him or something like that? A touchdown thrown to him?
He that was way later, but he was back in the game. But they kept showing same like Chuba Hubbard. They just kept showing Nick Chubb on the fucking sideline, like with the jacket on. It was like he has not been in the game for the last 25 consecutive plays.
Crazy. But yeah, Jameis was insane though. Jameis and his defense was balling. The Browns' defense really had me thinking, oh yeah, the Broncos lost this. This man Jameis, but James Winston does what Jameis does, and he motherfucking gave spotted them boys 14, and that's all they needed to win. Two
See,
pick sixes.
no, but the last one was more of a hero ball. I will say the last one because you're already what was the score? 32-34, and it's a minute and a half left. And Jameis Winston just, that pick six to seal the game. He did what Jameis Winston on the Bucks used to do. Like you're trying to do too much. You have 2 minutes left on the clock. You don't have to force a deep shot or something on like a second down. But he did, and it wasn't even a deep shot. It was he kept throwing, and the commentators kept calling it because he kept throwing. The Kirk Cousins interception on the little and pick six. It was an out route that he just threw soft and they undercut it. Well, Jameis Winston was throwing that route and the curl route on the far hash all game long, but he has a laser beam, so he was just beaming them fuckers into it, beating the coverage by like a split second, and it was like hey, if the DB gets there a little quicker, like that's a turning the whole field around type of play, and it was like fourth quarter, I felt like the DB baited it. Like the DB knew, like, oh, he's been doing this all game. We're doing this all game. I'm gonna let it up a little bit, and then as soon as Jameis threw that bitch, he just undercut that bitch and took it. And it was one of those like, oh, the DB's been setting that up all game type of situations. But Bo
Should
Nix,
have barbecue chicken.
yeah. Well, Bo Nix, he didn't have a great game. He threw two interceptions himself. So like the defenses did show up, but it was like there was no punts. It was either we're scoring fucking points or we're giving the ball to the other team. There was no in between in this game.
That's funny as fuck, but that's actually facts. Yeah, this game was just a.
But
I'm
Winston
thinking,
had 500 yards.
nah, 497.
197, I know, but that bitch sound better at 500.
497, 4 touchdowns, and technically six touchdowns.
Someone says Jerry Jeudy had what 235 receiving yards this game. Shout out Jerry Jeudy.
Revenge, and then he tweeted revenge, some revenge shit.
235 is more passing yards than Watson has had all season.
That's scary bad.
That's the stat that I think people should sit with right there. And it was like 235 receiving yards for Jeudy is more than what Deshaun Watson has passed for in a single game all season.
That's scary. Yeah, he got to do something. He got to lock in too. But yeah, that was a very good game. That was a great Monday night game. And if you think about it, Paul, we only got so many left. I think there's only like 4 Thursday night games altogether.
Yeah, we only got a few more prime time. We got to make them last. But playoffs, every game's a damn near prime time game. But yeah, Jerry Jeudy dropped like a 40 burger in fantasy. Winston,
I played against him.
Yeah, Winston dropped like a 35 burger. And honestly, if I'm a Browns fan, I'd rather have the Winston experience over the Watson experience. At least this is
1000%.
This is fun. I like this. Our offense looks so fucking fun and electric. Yeah, I signed up for this every week.
Facts.
Well, we appreciate y'all watching. Once again, Kev took the win this week. The overall record now is 6-6-1 for the ultimate tie going into the final weeks before playoffs. As always, go down, like, and subscribe. Thank y'all for listening. I'm Paul Pickawinham, Kev Waterboy Savoy. If y'all didn't know NFL Week 13, well, now y'all know.